Today, we're going to talk about the Jatobá tree, one of the most widely used medicinal trees in the Amazon, especially for its natural wine or sap extracted directly from the trunk. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe, share, and hit the like button to help support our channel. Every week, we bring you new content about Amazonian plants and their health benefits. Long before any roads cut through the Amazon, before cities rose along the great rivers, and long before modern science tried to catalog every plant in the rainforest, the Jatobá was already part of the living history of the jungle. Scientifically known as Hymenaea courbaril, the Jatobá is one of the oldest and most impressive trees in the Amazon. A true giant that can grow over 40 meters tall and live for hundreds of years. The origin of the Jatobá is deeply connected to the formation of South America's tropical forests. Botanical studies suggest that trees from the Hymenaea genus have existed for millions of years, long before humans ever set foot in the Amazon. Fossilized resin and botanical records show that ancestral species of Jatobá were already producing resin-like substances, some of which eventually formed deposits of tropical amber, preserving insects and fragments of prehistoric forests. In addition to its traditional uses, the Jatobá tree is now gaining global attention for its powerful natural health benefits, especially among people searching for plant-based remedies and Amazonian superfoods. The sap of Jatobá, often called Jatobá water, is commonly associated with boosting the immune system naturally, helping the body maintain balance, strength, and resilience. As interest in natural healing and holistic wellness continues to grow, Jatobá is becoming one of the most searched medicinal plants from the Amazon rainforest. Another key factor driving attention to this ancient tree is its richness in antioxidants and bioactive compounds. These substances are widely studied for their potential role in helping the body fight oxidative stress, fatigue, and cellular damage. Because of this, Jatobá is increasingly recognized as a natural energy booster and vitality enhancer, especially among those looking for herbal alternatives to support daily health. In the world of Amazon medicinal plants and natural supplements, Jatobá stands out as one of the most promising and fascinating discoveries. In addition, Jatobá is often highlighted for its potential anti-inflammatory and antimicrobial properties, which may support respiratory health, digestive balance, and overall well-being. While scientific research is still evolving, this tree continues to gain popularity in discussions about natural remedies, herbal medicine, and rainforest healing traditions. For those searching online for terms like Jatobá benefits, Amazon natural medicine, or herbal remedies for immunity, this ancient tree represents a powerful connection between ancestral knowledge and modern natural health trends. This long evolutionary history made the Jatobá a highly adapted species within the Amazon ecosystem. Its deep roots can reach underground water sources even during periods of intense drought. Its trunk is thick, dense, and extremely resistant, protected by a tough bark that acts like a natural armor against insects, fungi, and environmental damage. But what truly makes the Jatobá special is not just its strength or its size. It's the richness of natural compounds the tree produces throughout its life. Inside its trunk flows a clear sap, known in many regions as Jatobá water, a natural liquid that forest communities have learned to extract carefully without harming the tree. This sap is part of the plant's defense system and contains compounds that help protect it from infections and predators. For indigenous peoples of the Amazon, the Jatobá has never been just a tree. It has always been seen as a tree of power, a kind of living pharmacy of the forest. Over generations, different communities learned how to observe the tree, recognize its maturity, and use its resources in a sustainable way. The extraction of Jatobá sap is one of these ancestral practices passed down orally for centuries. According to traditional knowledge, only mature and healthy trees should be used for sap extraction. Small holes are carefully made in the trunk using simple tools, allowing the liquid to flow slowly. This process is done with great respect, as forest communities believe the Jatobá is a living being that must continue to thrive in order to benefit future generations. The Jatobá also plays an essential ecological role in the rainforest. Its fruits, known as Jatobá pods, are highly nutritious and serve as food for many animals, including monkeys, agoutis, deer, and birds. As these animals consume the fruit and spread the seeds, they naturally help regenerate the species across the forest. In addition, Jatobá wood is extremely dense and durable, considered one of the strongest woods in the Amazon. Because of this, the tree has also gained economic importance over time, being used in construction, furniture making, and structures that require high resistance. Even with all these qualities, the true value of the Jatobá may lie in something less visible, the traditional knowledge associated with it. For centuries, indigenous communities and riverine populations have used different parts of the tree, its bark, sap, resin, and fruit, for various purposes related to health and well-being. This ancestral knowledge has only recently begun to attract the attention of modern science. Researchers have started to study the chemical compounds found in the tree and discovered that many of them have biologically active properties. This helps explain why the Jatobá has always held such an important place in traditional forest medicine. Within the immense biodiversity of the Amazon rainforest, few trees have earned such a deep role in traditional medicine as the Jatobá. For many forest communities, it is not just a source of wood or food, but a true natural pharmacy, where every part of the tree serves a purpose in promoting health. Long before the arrival of modern medicine, indigenous peoples and river communities already possessed a highly sophisticated understanding of medicinal plants. This knowledge was not random. It was built over centuries through careful observation of nature, experimentation, and oral transmission across generations. And within this system of healing, the Jatobá became one of the most valued trees of all. One of the most commonly used parts of the Jatobá tree in traditional Amazonian medicine is its bark. When prepared as a tea or infusion, it has long been used by many Amazonian communities to help strengthen the body and support recovery during periods of physical weakness. In many villages, Jatobá bark tea is considered a natural tonic that helps restore energy, especially after prolonged illness. Another widely used element is the sap of the Jatobá, often referred to as Jatobá water. This clear liquid is extracted directly from the trunk of the tree and in many indigenous cultures is regarded as a highly valuable medicinal resource. Traditionally, it is consumed in small amounts to help support the body's balance and is sometimes used in healing rituals led by shamans or traditional healers. The resin of the Jatobá, known in some regions by different local names, also plays an important role in traditional practices. When heated, it releases a strong, distinctive aroma. In several Amazonian cultures, it is used in smoke rituals and spiritual ceremonies, where the smoke is believed to purify spaces and ward off negative energies. But perhaps one of the most fascinating parts of the Jatobá tree is its fruit. The pod contains a dry, flour-like pulp that is naturally rich in nutrients. Traditionally, this pulp is eaten on its own or mixed with water or milk to create a nourishing drink. In some parts of the Amazon, it is considered a strengthening food and is often given to children, the elderly, and those recovering from physical exhaustion. The use of Jatobá in traditional Amazonian medicine is also deeply connected to a fundamental principle of indigenous cultures: balance between humans and nature. Unlike exploitative practices, forest communities have always developed harvesting methods that aim to preserve the tree. The bark, for example, is removed in small amounts so the plant can regenerate. Likewise, sap extraction is usually performed only on mature trees and during specific times of the year. This respect for nature is part of a broader view of indigenous medicine. For many Amazonian peoples, healing is not limited to the physical body. It also involves emotional and spiritual balance. For this reason, the use of plants like Jatobá is often accompanied by chants, prayers, or rituals led by spiritual leaders within the community. Over time, traditional knowledge about Jatobá began to attract interest beyond forest communities. Researchers, botanists, and scholars of natural medicine started studying the compounds found in the tree. Many studies have identified natural substances with biological activity, helping to explain why Jatobá has always held such an important place in traditional healing practices. Even so, many experts emphasize that the true value of Jatobá lies not only in its chemical compounds, but in the cultural knowledge preserved by Amazonian peoples. This knowledge represents an invaluable heritage built over centuries of direct interaction with the forest. Today, as the world begins to rediscover the importance of medicinal plants, Jatobá is gaining attention once again. It symbolizes something much greater than a simple medicinal tree. It represents the ancestral wisdom of forest communities and the deep connection between biodiversity, culture, and health. At a time when the preservation of the Amazon is becoming increasingly urgent, understanding the role of trees like Jatobá in traditional medicine is also a way of recognizing the value of indigenous knowledge and the forest itself as one of the greatest natural treasures on Earth. We are not just talking about a liquid extracted from a tree. We are talking about a 1,000-year-old tradition, a deep relationship between human beings and the Amazon rainforest, built through observation, experience, and respect for nature. The story of Jatobá is, therefore, the story of a tree that has crossed geological eras, survived the transformations of the forest, and continues to this day as a symbol of ancestral knowledge. Deep in the heart of the Amazon rainforest exists a quiet knowledge, passed down from generation to generation, revealing how indigenous peoples learn to use nature's resources without destroying them. One of the most fascinating examples of this ancestral wisdom is the way they extract what is known as Jatobá water, a natural liquid found inside the tree without causing permanent harm to it. To understand this process, it's important to recognize that Jatobá is not just any tree. It can grow for decades or even centuries, reaching great heights and developing a strong trunk capable of storing significant amounts of sap. This sap is part of the tree's internal system of circulation. Indigenous peoples have learned how to identify which trees can provide this liquid and which should be left untouched. Typically, only mature and healthy trees are selected. Younger or weaker trees are avoided, as forest communities understand that nature's balance depends on preserving every living element. The extraction process begins with careful observation. Experienced individuals examine the trunk, the texture of the bark, and even the tree's position in relation to soil and sunlight. Often, they can identify subtle signs that indicate a good amount of sap inside. A small hole is then made in the trunk using simple tools. In the past, these tools were made of stone or hardwood. Today, they may include machetes or metal instruments. The opening is made with precision, avoiding unnecessary damage to the tree's structure. Once the hole is made, a clear liquid slowly begins to emerge, the famous Jatobá water. It flows naturally, often in slow drops, and is collected in simple containers such as gourds or small vessels. The process requires patience and respect for the rhythm of nature. One of the most important aspects of this traditional knowledge is that extraction is never excessive. Only the amount needed for immediate use or small reserves is collected. Taking too much could weaken the tree. After collection, the hole is often sealed again using wood, natural resin, or even clay. This helps protect the tree from insects and fungi, allowing it to heal naturally over time. This simple method reflects a deeply rooted philosophy. Nature is not something to exploit, but something to respect. For these communities, every tree has a role within the balance of the forest, and the relationship with it must be based on reciprocity. In many communities, the extraction of Jatobá water is also connected to cultural and spiritual practices. Before collecting the sap, some traditions include gestures of respect, such as touching the tree or silently expressing gratitude. These practices reflect the belief that nature is alive and deserving of recognition. This knowledge is not learned overnight. It is passed down by elders, experienced hunters, healers, and community leaders who teach younger generations how to read the forest, understand its cycles, and respect its limits. This wisdom is part of a much larger system of traditional ecological knowledge, which includes sustainable hunting, the use of medicinal plants, and ways of living in harmony with the environment. Today, scientists and researchers are beginning to recognize the value of this knowledge for environmental conservation. Traditional methods like the sustainable extraction of Jatobá water show that it is possible to use natural resources without destroying them. At a time when the Amazon faces increasing challenges, stories like this reveal something essential. The people of the forest are not just inhabitants, they are guardians of knowledge about how to live in balance with one of the most complex ecosystems on Earth. Jatobá water, therefore, is not just a natural resource. It represents a connection between tradition, respect for nature, and ancestral wisdom that continues to live on within forest communities. Over generations, indigenous peoples and traditional Amazonian communities have developed a deep understanding of the plants around them. Among these, Jatobá holds a special place. Its sap is considered a valuable resource in traditional medicine, often associated with strengthening the body and restoring energy. This knowledge did not come from laboratories. It was built through centuries of observation, experience, and oral tradition. For these communities, every plant has its purpose, and Jatobá stands as one of the clearest examples of this ancestral wisdom. In addition to its traditional uses, the Jatobá tree has gained attention for its potential natural health benefits, especially among those searching for alternative and plant-based remedies. The sap of Jatobá is often associated with immune system support, helping the body maintain balance and resilience. Many people interested in natural Amazonian medicine are now exploring Jatobá as part of a broader movement toward holistic health and wellness rooted in nature. Another important aspect frequently discussed is the presence of antioxidant compounds in Jatobá, which may help combat oxidative stress in the body. This has led to growing interest in Jatobá as a natural source of energy and vitality, especially for those looking to support overall well-being through traditional plant-based solutions. In many discussions about Amazon medicinal plants, Jatobá is often highlighted as a powerful example of nature's ability to provide supportive compounds for human health. Furthermore, Jatobá is increasingly mentioned in conversations about natural anti-inflammatory properties and its potential role in supporting respiratory and digestive health. While more scientific studies are still needed, the tree continues to stand out in the world of herbal medicine and rainforest healing traditions. For those searching online for Jatobá benefits, Amazon herbal remedies, or natural plant medicine, this ancient tree represents a fascinating bridge between ancestral knowledge and modern curiosity about natural health solutions. In recent decades, modern science has begun to study this tree more closely. Researchers have identified compounds such as terpenes, flavonoids, and antioxidants, substances that may help explain its traditional uses. Laboratory studies suggest that some of these compounds may have anti-inflammatory and antimicrobial properties. Even so, many scientists acknowledge that there is still much to discover. The Amazon remains one of the richest and least explored ecosystems on the planet, and Jatobá is just one example of its untapped potential. At the end of this journey through the Amazon rainforest, one thing becomes clear. Jatobá is much more than a tree. It represents the meeting point between nature, science, and ancestral wisdom. For centuries, the people of the Amazon have learned to observe the forest with respect and patience, uncovering secrets that the world is only now beginning to understand. Jatobá water is just one of those secrets, a symbol of how the forest still holds valuable knowledge about health, balance, and survival. In a time when the Amazon faces growing challenges, stories like this remind us of something essential. Protecting the forest also means preserving the knowledge of those who have learned to live in harmony with it. Because in the end, the greatest secrets of the Amazon are still alive,